Tonight, the holiday weekend brings more chaos to Pearson Airport.
Flight just got canceled. We sat on the tarmac for 4 hours. We were bored and hot.
From delays and cancellation to baggage issues, we'll take you to the airport for the latest. Plus,
we're believers in the vaccine and just keeping everybody around us safe.
With COVID numbers creeping up in Ontario, some are calling for the province to allow more people access to a fourth dose. And
we're going to bridge those gaps with the community through the sport of cricket.
A celebration of a sport that's growing in popularity in Toronto. We'll tell you about a program that hopes to get more youth involved in cricket.
This is CBC Saturday News.
You are looking at a live shot of Toronto's Pearson Airport, where frustrations are high tonight. We will bring you there in just a moment to hear from some travelers that have been impacted by those cancellations and delays and get a sense of what you can expect if you plan to fly this long weekend. Travelers heading through that airport are being asked to pack their patience because of those issues that are continuing today. Our Meg Roberts joins us live from Toronto Pearson Airport. Meg, what can you tell us about the situation there at the moment?
Well, we know with more traffic usually comes more issues. Air Canada is transporting more than 500,000 people this holiday weekend, and the cancellations and delays, it has some calling their travel experience a nightmare.
We just want to go home.
Chaos over the long weekend has left some in tears. Tyler Hall and his tour group have been stuck in Toronto for the past 3 days, trying to get from Edinburgh to San Diego. They're at their wits' end.
I think that we've all cried at least at one point, especially when we found out that our third flight was canceled and we have to book a fourth one with Air Canada. Air Canada has been a mess.
Like from the minute we stepped into the airport, we knew that things were not the way they should have been.
Stephanie Bernard-Roy was trying to get from Montreal to Sudbury ahead of the long weekend. She says her flight was delayed, then canceled, and her dog, who was traveling with her, was put in a dangerous situation after it was left waiting hours in its kennel. Family from Elliott Lake ended up picking her up from Pearson, a 16-hour round-trip drive.
It's not safe because they're not helping you when they cancel your flight. They're just kind of letting you figure it out on your own. So they'll fly you halfway to your destination, and then that's it. They can do nothing more for you.
At the luggage carousel at Pearson Airport, you can find a number of travel nightmare stories, but not everyone has a bad tale to tell, and they're feeling fortunate for it.
We overpacked the carry-ons, definitely, but yeah, we were just well prepared for the worst. Thankfully, that hasn't happened yet.
It was good. Flights were delayed twice. I think the total delays were at least over 2 hours, but luckily I'm here.
Air Canada, in a response to CBC News, said Toronto Pearson Airport has contended with repeated issues with the airport's baggage system, which has impacted flights. And summer storms in the U.S. Northeast and Florida have added additional challenges. It said all these factors compound the already long processing times at airports, resulting in flight delays and, in some instances, cancellations, creating knock-on effects not only for our customers, but also impacting our employee resources and operations.
In a lot of the voices of those passengers, and you could see some of the chaos behind you with all those bags. For people who are planning to fly out this weekend, is there any relief in sight?
Well, it's unclear as to when these travel issues will be resolved, but like you noticed, there are hundreds of bags still here at Pearson Airport. This bag right here, it's been here since June 2nd. So this bag has been here for 1 whole month. Farah.
Meg Roberts, thank you very much. CBC's Meg Roberts reporting from Toronto's Pearson Airport. Well, that travel chaos isn't limited to Canada, as it is, of course, the July 4th long weekend in the United States, and travelers have been left stranded at airports there as hundreds of flights have been canceled and thousands more delayed. As the CBC's Chris Glover tells us, pandemic job losses are a big part of the problem.
Airports across the U.S. are now reliably unreliable.
We actually were just kind of mentally prepared to take it as it comes.
In the run-up to the July 4th long weekend, hundreds of flights were canceled each day nationwide, and thousands more were delayed.
Never come to an airport before wondering whether my flight's going to take off or not.
Lee Harris wasn't surprised his New Jersey flight to Ohio was canceled. Still, he's stranded.
I can't even get home now. I don't know how I'm going to get home.
This year already, the U.S. Transportation Department says 3.5% of flights have been canceled, a 42% increase over pre-pandemic 2019.
Be patient and be nice. This is the hardest thing in the world right now.
Airline analyst Brett Snyder says the rough ride at the airport started in 2020 with some 84,000 job losses from the counter to the cockpit.
The airlines really paid a lot of people to retire, and they now need to backfill that a lot faster than they expected they would have to. And so that's why we're in this pinch right now.
Delta flight number 1393.
Hard-hit Delta Airlines is allowing rebookings this weekend for no fees. This week, Delta reportedly offered passengers on a flight from Michigan to Minnesota a whopping $10,000 to give up their seat on an oversold flight. Delta's CEO called the overall situation an unprecedented confluence of problems, including a work stoppage this past Thursday when 1,200 pilots went on strike.
Delta pilots are looking for an industry-leading contract. That contract would address issues like pilot pay, quality of life, and retirement.
Now U.S. airlines are cutting an estimated 15% of planned flights through to the end of August to make future summer weekends less turbulent. Chris Glover, CBC News, Washington.
Folks opting for a road trip rather than air travel this long weekend are in for a bit of a relief at the pumps.
I think this is a bit of a break. This is sort of the eye of the storm, if you will. I think July and August are going to see prices go right back up to $2.10, maybe even $2.20 a liter, despite what the provincial government has done here.
Now, despite that prediction, prices fell 11 cents on Friday and dropped even more to $1.87 per liter on Saturday. That is the lowest they've been since the end of April. McTeague says this is partly due to the Ontario government's gas tax cut. Meanwhile, drivers expressed mixed feelings at the pumps.
So there's a little bit of good news for me. I feel a little bit happier going to work now.
I mean, it's a start. We could go for a little bit more.
Before I used to fill up like whole tank, but now I just kind of use like a little bit, like $30, $40.
They'll drop it and then increase it again, so hopefully they don't do that this time.
Now, McTeague says the relief is a temporary reprieve. He does say he expects prices to bounce back and reach record highs in July and August. Well, for the first time in 3 years, in-person Canada Day weekend gatherings without restrictions are happening across the country. But there are still concerns about the possible spread of new COVID variants. Toronto Public Health is holding pop-up vaccination clinics at events through the holiday weekend. And as Greg Ross tells us, some are calling for the province to expand eligibility for fourth doses.
Hundreds gathered at this Rib Fest in Toronto, many excited to be able to enjoy a Canada Day long weekend without any pandemic restrictions.
We're so happy everything is gone right now and everybody coming together.
For many, the concerns of the pandemic are a thing of the past.
Just outside having a good time and not too bothered about it anymore.
But COVID-19 cases are on the rise in Canada, and it isn't discriminating between the vaccinated and unvaccinated.
What's interesting about the Omicron variant, especially this BA.5 that is increasingly dominant globally, is that it is immune evasive. And that means it can sneak around some of the protective immunity that we've garnered from prior vaccination and also from prior infection.
This pop-up vaccination clinic at Ribfest was one of many around the city this weekend. This man took advantage, getting his fourth dose, but his daughter was not eligible.
I'm glad that he's taking the steps to be protected, but I'm frustrated that I can't get mine, which helps everybody that I love be a little more protected.
In Ontario, you must be over the age of 60 or considered high risk to get a fourth dose. This Toronto pharmacist says many of his clients who don't qualify are frustrated.
Realizing that they've had their third dose back in December, in January, and they're not feeling the protection.
He wonders if the province of Ontario is waiting too long to make the fourth dose available to everyone.
I have concerns that if we're not opening it up to the population right now, we're going to have big trouble coming in the fall.
But 3 shots will provide protection against hospitalization and severe illness for most people, which is why this infectious disease physician says there's no rush to expand eligibility for a 4th dose.
Really, we should be focusing on those who are at greatest risk of hospitalization and severe outcomes. And we should certainly be prioritizing efforts to get those populations vaccinated.
He says anyone who has not yet received a 3rd dose should consider getting one. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
A person has died and 7 others taken to hospital after a crash involving an impaired driver in downtown Toronto. Police were called to the scene at University in Adelaide around 11:45 last night for a multi-vehicle collision involving a pedestrian. A motorist was charged with impaired driving following the crash. Paramedics tell CBC News half of the victims taken to hospital suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The others were treated for minor injuries. We're learning more tonight about a fatal shooting that happened in Cobourg on Monday.
Shortly after 10 a.m., the Cobourg Police Service responded to a report of gunshots in the downtown area. A 37-year-old male from Scarborough, suffering life-threatening injuries, was transported to local hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
Ontario Provincial Police have identified 37-year-old Rohan Pine from Scarborough as the victim. He owned the local Jamaican Patty House. Police say 2 suspects fled the scene in a black Lexus SUV. The vehicle was found in Markham later Monday, where it was determined to have been stolen. The suspects are still at large. Investigators are asking anyone with information or video footage to contact police. Well, fireworks are always a staple of Canada Day celebrations in Toronto, but they almost didn't happen this year. You're looking at images from the fireworks display at Ashbridges Bay last night. City workers had to scramble to find a new vendor for the show after one fell through at the last minute. They also managed to save the show scheduled for tonight at Stan Ludlow Park. Unfortunately, there will be no fireworks at Milliken Park this year. The city is reminding residents to stay safe and that fireworks are banned in city parks and on beaches. Sophia Kambalia joins us with our first look at your forecast. Sophia, I missed those fireworks last night, but I did manage to catch a pretty spectacular sunset last night.
Yeah, first of all, it was amazing how many fireworks shows I saw in local neighborhood parks and things as well. Everybody was being safe, but compared to past years, the perfect forecast for fireworks. And you'd be surprised how many videos we actually had in from viewers of that amazing sunset you also talked about, Farah. Along with all the videos of fireworks shows, Mother Nature was putting on her own display in the skies for Canada Day, and not just around the downtown core like you saw, but also all the way near London, Ontario, and Middlesex, like this video behind me. Gorgeous, gorgeous show in the sky. We actually have an incredible long weekend forecast for you. It's pretty rare to have an amazing 3-day forecast. It's usually when all the storms come through on a long weekend, right? But we have this wonderful light northwest wind to thank for the very low to no humidity and dry, pleasant heat. This evening, if you're headed out to some more of the fireworks shows, to the Budweiser stage, you'll see the Backstreet Boys, or even out to the TFC game. Temperatures closer to your daytime average, quite pleasant. Cloud cover continues into the evening and into the overnight period. And then watch Sunday. High pressure in place, bright bluebird skies, the kind that you write home to mom about. In fact, there will be as many hours of sunshine for Sunday as there is waking daylight hours. Enjoy it while you can, and a surefire bet that the roof will be open at Rogers Centre with these seasonal temperatures. Coming up, I'll tell you what you really want to know, which is when the rain's finally going to come for all you gardeners.
Thank you very much, Sophia.
See you then.
Coming up, a dramatic rescue operation off the coast of Hong Kong. Stay with us for more. Welcome back. Well, today's sunny skies were the perfect weather for the 18th annual Mayor's Cricket Trophy event in Toronto. Sponsored by the organization SEMA, it brings teams from various organizations to the pitch. With the sport of cricket growing in popularity in the city, the hope among some is to attract more young people to the game. Clara Pasica caught up with some of the rookies and veterans.
A bowler throws a cricket ball across the pitch at Sunnybrook Park. Teams from organizations like Toronto Community Housing and the TTC were hoping for the big win today. This veteran player explains how it all works.
Cricket is a game, Involves a bat and a ball and 11 players on the field. It's similar to, I would say, baseball in a sense, where you have to hit the ball most of the time as hard as you can, and you try to score or runs, we call it, as much as you can, and try to limit the opposing team to a lesser score.
Some lucky novices also got to bat, including Toronto Mayor John Tory. His advice?
As it is with any sport where you're trying to hit a ball, you got to sort of have your eye tied up with that ball and then the bat that's in your hand. So keep your eye on the ball, and when you hit it, run like hell.
But he faced some tough competition from the son of fellow city councillor Anthony Peruza.
They have to focus on the game and, listen how the game works so they know how they play the game.
Many here hope more youth take up the sport. Whether as wicketkeepers, bowlers, or batters, players here say having the program in schools will ensure the future of the sport in Toronto. And a new organization formed during the pandemic, the Ontario School Cricket Association, or OSCA, hopes to make that happen, creating a more sustainable, inclusive school cricket program to include thousands. Usman Khan, now on the Toronto Community Housing team, said having a cricket program while he was in school meant everything to him.
Gave me a first-hand opportunity to play cricket, sort of like a semi-professional type level, and it was really enlightening for me because I had watched cricket a lot but hadn't played it. It gave me a chance to connect with my culture.
With the sport growing in popularity in the GTA, could Toronto get its own professional team to compete on the world stage? The mayor isn't ruling it out.
Thank you very much. Cricket. We can become a real force in cricket, thanks to the people that have come here from other countries, have brought the game, have taught the game to people, thanks to the schools program. I hope to overseeing the holding of global cricket events here in Toronto.
Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
To some international stories now. Pro-Russian separatists claim they're now on the brink of capturing the last remaining Ukrainian-held city in the eastern province of Luhansk. But it's a claim Ukraine denies. It says its forces have fended off attempts at surrounding them. The city's capture would allow Russian forces to push deeper into Ukraine's industrial heartland. Today, new attacks are also reported in the port city of Mykolaiv. It follows a deadly airstrike yesterday on another coastal area near Odessa, which killed at least 21 people. Well, dozens are feared dead in the South China Sea after a vessel sank in a tropical storm. A rescue team from Hong Kong was able to pull at least 3 crew members to safety. Little information has been released about the ship, but it is believed 30 people were on board. It was caught at sea when the typhoon Chaba hit and split apart. Well, there are a number of festivals in full swing across the province this weekend. One of them is called Rhythms of Canada, and it's taking place at the Aga Khan Museum. The festival is more than just music. There are activities like clay making, weaving, dance workshops, and much more. And of course, the museum is open for visits through the holiday weekend. We met with Chief Operating Officer Moise Jadavji at one of the museum's latest exhibits.
The sole purpose of the festival is basically bring people with diverse backgrounds and cultures, appreciate the place and make it their own as well, because over the time we've realized that people want to share their stories, people want to tell about their cultures, they want to share what they do. So we have a lineup of performances, activities, food, educational programs with so many different angles to start to present the activities with a variety of people that are going to be on site, artists included.
What do you hope people will take away from this week and this festival as a whole, Moise?
Yeah, I think the most important thing we want to portray a message of that this is your home. This is a place for everybody and all cultures. We're hoping that they come here, share stories, share their experiences with others, and saying this is actually a very safe and a wonderful place to be part of. And if you see it, architecturally it's gorgeous, right? And you can't say anything about more than that. It's an amazing place. Has elements for all ages as well. We have kids programs, we have programs for seniors, people to sit and relax here, enjoy the music.
Thank you very much, Moise. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, beautiful structure.
Isn't it gorgeous? It was my second time there, and I have to say, it's still like the charm just doesn't wear off. It's just such a beautiful architectural structure.
It is on my list. You've twisted my arm into it.
Yes, and there is this festival that's happening at the Aga Khan Museum this weekend. A lot of great outdoor events happening.
Perfect weekend for it.
Yeah, so for folks that are heading out to festivals like that over the next couple of days, what can they expect, Sophia?
Oh, perfect weekend for the festival goers, the golfers, not so much for the gardeners. You need the rain. It will be sparse and hard to come by for this upcoming work week. But like we mentioned, bang on seasonal for Sunday. Maybe a touch of humidity creeps in for those of you into southwestern Ontario. But as we mentioned before, you will probably need your hat if you're headed to the Jays game tomorrow, because a surefire bet that the roof will be open at Rogers Centre. And enjoy all the sunshine on Sunday, as we mentioned, because the rest of the week looks to have a little bit more cloud cover. Temperatures are still quite nice for Monday, but we alluded earlier to the fact that Monday could have a spotty lake breeze thunderstorm chance, but the rain chance will more so be an early Tuesday story right across the GTA, and we really do need it. The fire danger rating actually is high or extreme across much of southern Ontario, so of course further heightens the risk for lightning-induced grass fires or just overall grass fires with the dry, crispy terrain all around. Light shower chance comes in midday Monday, and then Tuesday along this weak warm front, we have the chance for early morning rain. More so south and west of the city, Toronto, you'll have some spotty showers, not the soaking that we really need, and then late week is really your next shot of rain, but a seasonal, beautiful forecast if you're spending the week up at the cottage. I actually haven't seen a more consistent 14-day seasonal forecast in July for quite some time. So beautiful stretch of weather. And to remind you, we've had a really wonky back and forth June with quite a few days above and below seasonal. So this will be a nice change again for the golfers, not the gardeners.
Thanks, Sophia. We'll enjoy it while we can.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Well, that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We will leave you with some pictures of last night's Canada Day fireworks celebration. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website at cbcnews.ca. I'm Farah Morali. Have a great night.